Hey y'all, No here. I'm in the Chugach National Forest now. I drove down from the Matanuska Glacier on Sunday. It was a gorgeous drive. If you're not driving a van, if you're a passenger and somebody else was driving a van, you would find it the scenery absolutely amazing. But the drive from the Matanuska Glacier down to Anchorage is very steep and very curvy, and you have to keep your eyes on the road. So I was not able to shoot any video of that for you. You're just going to have to take my word for it, because you can't be fumbling around with a camera. And I mean, these roads are really curvy, you just can't take a chance. But it's well worth taking some time driving down there. There's not a lot of pullouts to stop and take pictures, but it's really beautiful. Now, last time I talked to you, I told you I was going to Hatcher's Pass. I talked to the guy at church on Sunday, and he recommended that I drive all the way down here to the Kenai Peninsula first, because the pass was clear, the roads were clear to drive through Hatcher's Pass, but I had some reports on All Trails that there was still some snow on the trail that I wanted to hike. And I've kind of run into that here in the National Forest too. I was planning on hiking Crow's Pass, and the ranger told me that the snow was like 3 feet deep beyond the 2-mile mark, which, is 2 miles is hardly anything. So I decided to bypass all the things that I can't do, because when I leave the Kenai Peninsula, there's one way in, there's one way out. It's kind of like Alaska itself. When you leave the Kenai Peninsula, you have to go back through Anchorage. And so I'm either going to go back up Highway 1 to Palmer and go across to Hatcher's Pass, and then take I believe it's Highway 4. No, Highway 3 towards Denali. But I may, instead of going to Palmer, I may go to Wasilla and cut across that way. We just have to wait and see, which way looks the best. Really, my big plan for driving Alaska is to make a clockwise circle. This may look counterclockwise because I've got it in selfie mode, but starting in basically Talk and then going around to Fairbanks and then out. But when you go down into Kenai Peninsula, there's one way in and one way out. So either way, you're going to have to backtrack. There's no loop around the Kenai Peninsula. Be nice if it was, but I think the terrain pretty much eliminated that possibility. So today, I'm going to be driving, hopefully. We've seen how plans can change, but the hope is to drive towards Seward, maybe all the way to Seward today. There's actually a tunnel that goes through the mountain that costs you $13 to drive through. So I'm going to let you see that experience. And just to let you see what I'm looking at today, It is raining today. So what do you do when it's Raska? Well, you probably noticed I've got on my full rain gear even though I'm sitting in the van. And I've never found anything that chases the rain away and makes the sun come out like putting on your full rain gear. You know, your parka, your rain pants, anything you can put on to keep you dry. In my experience, and I don't know why this is, I'm not superstitious or anything like that. I don't think there's any magic in rain gear, but it sure does seem, it maybe just seems that way, like when you finally give in and put on your rain gear, it stops raining. So that's what I'm trying today. This is all in keeping with my policy of keeping it real, showing you all the stuff, not just the happy stuff, not just the beautiful stuff, but showing you stuff like this. And you can see it's raining again, or sprinkling a little bit. So let me wipe the windshield off for you once. You can't have a rainbow without rain. You can't go downhill without first going uphill. They tell me you can't make mayonnaise without breaking some eggs. So hopefully I'm going to let you see what it's like on a rainy day in Alaska today, and help you to understand that sun doesn't shine all the time in Alaska, contrary to what a lot of those YouTube videos make it look like. So I'm going to go visit the long drop. I'll be back in a minute. Probably more than a minute, but editing will make it look like a minute. All right, we are ready to go. I'm not going to shoot a bunch of video. You've seen a rainy road before. I'll maybe turn you back on whenever we get to the tunnel. Right now I'm going to just see if there's gas available in Seward and stuff like that. So we'll check you down the road. Hopefully we'll get some sunshine today. Don't bet the farm on it though. Okay, we're almost at the tunnel, I think. There's a tunnel up here anyway. I've never done this before, so we'll see how it goes. Not sure what the procedure is. I thought you paid on this side, but maybe you pay after you go through. Maybe this isn't the tunnel that you have to pay to go through. Let's see what the sign says here. Driver headlights on in tunnel. Well, it'd be great if they decided to make it. Oh, this is not the tunnel. This is a tunnel. Okay, false alarm, I guess. I think I just let the camera run and edit out. Oh, we don't want. That was really windy. I'm hoping they take plastic. If they don't, they're going to get a $7 tip. Guess we're all going through one lane. Oh, I see. Lane. Good morning. I guess we're all using one lane today, huh?
Have you driven this standard before?
No, I have not.
So just make sure you drive 35 miles per hour. No stopping at an emergency and headlights on when you're driving through the tunnel.
Right. Thanks very much. Try to keep dry. Okay, that wasn't too painful, they do take plastic here, so you don't have to leave a tip. Looks like I'm in the wrong lane. So I believe what the procedure is here is every 15 minutes they switch directions. So we should see, unless there's a train coming. There's also a train that uses this tunnel. There's the tracks right over there. So the train always has the right of way, and there is actually a little train station back up the road that you can catch a train, and I believe go all the way to Seward on the train. Not sure about the schedule, but yeah, if the train's coming, the train gets first dibs on the tunnel. But if there's no train coming, we should see cars coming out of the tunnel pretty soon. Then when they get their 15 minutes worth, and the reason there's no cars coming now may be because there's nobody waiting to come out on the other side. So it may just be on a timer with like a gate that opens and closes like a railroad train crossing. That just switches every 15 minutes. That would be a smart way to do it. That wouldn't take a person at the gate to open and close it. I forgot to mention the name of the campground I was staying in. It's called the Whittier, WILLOWWAW campground. Okay, we're about to go now. And a little plus is that there is actually a salmon run viewing area at that campground. The salmon aren't running right now. They won't be running, they think, until sometime in July. But if they were running, that is one of the streams that the salmon come up from the Pacific Ocean to spawn. So they say it's a pretty awesome thing to watch. So we've still got a green light. Hopefully we're going to make it through. People in the other lane thought if they came to the front of the line, they'd get to go first, I guess, but it doesn't work that way. Or maybe lane 1 was just full. Go. Doesn't look like any tunnel I've ever driven through before. It looks more like we're driving into a barn than a tunnel. There's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit here. We're about to run up on the train tracks, so hopefully there's no train coming behind us anyway. Yeah, maybe I don't want a machine monitoring this. Maybe I do want a human being in charge. They're kind of straddling the railroad tracks. It makes your vehicle feel a little bit wobbly. Takes a little bit of getting used to. Feels like there's something trying to push your vehicle side to side, like there's a crosswind, but I don't think there's a crosswind inside this tunnel. Guess I'll turn the windshield wipers off since we're indoors, so to speak. The car in front of me may be doing a little bit more than 25 miles an hour. Maybe I'm doing a little bit less. It's just a funny feeling driving on these railroad tracks. Not because the train uses the same tunnel, but just makes your car feel a little wobbly. Kind of wet in here too. I guess it's moisture running, seeping in, or maybe even just coming off the vehicles, or it could just be condensation from the difference in the temperature. But I don't want to be sliding around inside here, because you hit one of these rock walls. The rock wall's not going to give too much. Pretty good length of tunnel, though. Because I can't see the end of it. The story I get is this tunnel was initially built during World War II to be able to get gas and diesel into Alaska faster. Evidently, this train track saved several days or hours at least from the ships. The ships could dock at Seward, and then this train could take the supplies on into Alaska faster, because the supplies were having to come from the lower 48. And so if the supply ships had to go all the way around to Anchorage, they took a lot longer to make that trip. So evidently the Army thought that it was worthwhile building this railroad to get supplies up into Alaska during World War II. Yeah, I suppose we're still reaping the benefits of their labor, because without this tunnel, there would be no road that goes to Seward. You would have to take a ferry to Seward, or because evidently there's no way to build a road. There's no pass to build a road over to get to Seward. So Seward was kind of landlocked until this train track was built. Thinking I see the proverbial light at the end of the tunnel up there. A little pun intended. sign back there did, I think, say keep left when you exit. All the other cars are, so that's what I'm going to do too. Somehow it feels like the, yeah, I can see why they wouldn't want to stay on the railroad track. Yeah, not as many people coming out as coming in. Boy, it looks a lot foggier on this side of the tunnel than it did the other side. So there's nothing for you to see now, but I think I'll just edit it out instead of playing around with the camera. Looks like we're coming into Whittier with a big bump in the road to start with. Hope no train coming. There wasn't. So we'll see what Whittier's got to offer. More rain and wind, looks like. Would have been beautiful if it hadn't been so foggy and rainy, though. I think we may just drive right on through to Seward and see if the weather's any better coming back out. Oh, by the way, the toll for the tunnel is $13, but that's round trip because there's no way out except going through that tunnel. So you only have to pay once, and it's round trip all the way. Okay, lesson learned. The tunnel does not take you to Seward. This tunnel takes you to Whittier, which is a nice place to visit too. It'd be beautiful if the sun was shining today. You can take cruise around the fjords, which would be a great thing to do. But unfortunately, I got suckered into the tunnel for $13, and I'm spending about half an hour here, and I'm going to turn around and go back through the tunnel. They're actually, the tunnel is, Whittier is just at the other end of the tunnel, and that's the only thing that the tunnel goes to. So the tunnel and Whittier were so close together that it looked like that Highway 9 actually went through Whittier when it does not actually go through Whittier. So, yeah, onward towards Seward, I hope. Hopefully we won't have to wait on the tunnel for too long. Well, I've been driving all day. It's been raining all day, but I haven't lost hope. I found it. From the time I decided to come to Alaska, whenever I found out there was a town named Hope, I knew I had to come here and see the place. that chose to name itself Hope. Now, I think there's a story behind that. I believe the way they chose the name for the town was they said the next person who gets off the boat, whatever his or her last name is, that's what we're going to name the town. So I think it was a man whose last name was Hope. So this town got blessed with his last name. I think it's a blessing anyway. So I'm going to try to not blink. There's the Hope Christian Church. Farther. Dirty Skillet. Interesting name. Resurrection Trail. I like the name of that too. Alright, the sign said Hope was up here. Place where some big potholes are. Well, not sure they serve ice cream. Kind of what I was looking for.
In a quarter mile, you will arrive at your destination.
Looks like it, lady, because it says we're going to run out of road.
You have arrived.
So there's an old Hope and a new Hope, evidently. Like a Swiss cheese. Ain't no dodging around those. looks like they're looking for hope too, and didn't find it exactly. Nice view, but no ice cream. Well, I think I'll try that first store we came to. At least now you know what hope looks like. That did say ice cream, I think. Okay, well, it's been raining for almost 36 hours now. I finally did make it all the way to Seward. It rained all the way there. It rained all the way back. It rained even a little bit in Hope. It probably rained less in Hope than any other place that I went. If nothing else, I found a really sweet little place to park for the night. So sweet that I'm actually going to park here for 2 nights in a row. When I was in Valdez, I said, I'll never try to wait out the rain again. But I'm kind of sort of running out of road to drive down. I've actually finished half of the distance around the state of Alaska. You know, I started up at the border crossing right before you get to Toke, and so I have driven down. I actually did drive all the way down to Seward. I was planning on driving all the way to Homer, but the radar indicated that it was raining just as hard down at Homer as it was in Seward. The weather forecast said it was going to rain for several days, so I just decided to not go all the way because it's just going to be more of the same. But anyway, when I was coming out of the Hope Road at the junction of Highway 1 and the Hope Road, there is a rest stop actually on the left and on the right. I'm in the one coming back from Seward. It's got plenty of space. It's nice and level. There's place to go to the bathroom here. A long drop, of course, not a flush toilet. But I spent the night here last night, and so it's still raining right now. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon now, and so I'm planning on spending another night here because it's free. I've got 5 bars of cell phone reception here, so I can stream all the TV on my phone that I want to. Of course, I've been working on finishing up this video today and editing it, planning on, kind of what my course of action is going to be once the rain does finally ease up, which the forecast is saying day after tomorrow. So this is Wednesday, so they're saying that the rain's gonna let up on Friday. So I'm tentatively planning on maybe just staying in a hotel in Anchorage on Thursday night. I've had 1 bath, 1 shower since I've been here, and it's been over Well, I'm working on my 4th week now. It's the 28th of June, and I left home on the 4th of June. So, yeah, it's over 3 weeks and almost 4 weeks. So I may just get a motel room in Anchorage and, you know, just relax a little bit, and then drive to Hatcher Pass on Friday and see how the weather is up there. The pass itself is drivable. It's kind of iffy about some of the trails, but got to go that way to go to Denali anyway, so, you know, I've got nothing to lose. Now, the whole fiasco about the tunnel, I apologize for all of the mix-up, but I want to make it clear, you do not have to go through the $13 tunnel to drive to Seward. That is a completely separate thing. The tunnel only goes to Whittier, which is a nice little place to visit. There's a beautiful fjord there, and you know, if you've got good weather, it'd be well worth paying the $13 to go through. Even with the cloud cover, the water was kind of an aquamarine color. In sunlight, it would be just really gorgeous. The trailhead to the Portage Glacier trail, there's a little, or was a little footbridge that you cross to get to the trailhead. The bridge either washed out or an avalanche wiped it out last winter, but you can't even get to the trailhead to hike the Portage Glacier trail anymore. So check on that before you go through the tunnel, if that is why you're planning on going through it, especially if it's in 2023. So just to wrap things up, you probably noticed I don't have on my rain gear anymore or anything like that. It didn't work. It was worth a try. The rain gear did keep me dry, at least, but it didn't make the rain go away. It didn't make the sun shine, and still hasn't made the sun shine. But hopefully the Lord's going to give us some sunshine in a day or two. Sometimes you have to just be patient and wait for it. A word about, you know, planning a trip. If you've got limited time to be in Alaska, say if you only got 2 weeks to spend here or even a week, I'd be very cautious about putting a lot of my eggs into the southern coast of Alaska. The weather around the coast seems to be pretty wet most of the time, whereas farther north, yes, it does rain up there too, but I have not run into any of this all day and all night rain up in the northern part of the state like I have down here in the Anchorage and farther south areas, or Valdez. I've not run into any weather like that up north. So think about that if you're planning a trip. It's beautiful down in the Kenai Peninsula, and it's beautiful at Valdez too, but the weather is just so hard to get a nice, even partly cloudy day, that if you've got limited time, you know, you want to try to get the most bang for your buck. So I know that this hasn't been a very entertaining video, but maybe it showed you a little bit about what it's really like to drive around in a van in Alaska. It really is not all rainbows and unicorns, and sometimes there's a lot more rain than anything else. So I know it hasn't probably been very entertaining. It may have even seemed a little long. Hope you found it a little bit humorous, at least when I got lost. But maybe that will keep you from doing the same, and maybe it'll help you understand that there's going to be days like this, and so you just got to take them in stride. So the plan, and you always say the plan, they say a plan is just something that you might do. The plan is on Friday to drive up to Hatcher Pass and see what it's like up there. Hopefully, on Saturday anyway, the weather forecast is only for a 5% chance of rain up that way. So maybe we'll get at least one sunny day, or at least partly cloudy day. And then after that, it's going to be on in the direction of Denali. It's a long drive to Denali, but there's not, I mean, there's a lot of pretty country between here and there, but it's mostly private or government land or native people's land, and there's not a lot of national parks or state parks or anything like that on the highway to Denali, the Parks Highway. So even though it's a long distance, I may be able to drive it fairly quickly compared to coming down in the southern direction. So not really sure how much longer I'll be in Alaska, but kind of up to the Lord. We'll see what He's got planned for us. As always, I thank you for watching this, especially this long, kind of boring one, but that's kind of the way that it should have been, so you can understand what it's like sometimes. So God bless you everyone for watching, and vaya con Dios.